Hi, I'm Amanda Salgado. I had a blood clot-based or ischemic stroke in the right side of my brain about 5 to 6 months before I turned 24. I had a left limb paralysis from the stroke, some vision loss in each eye on the left side, so I lost my peripheral vision to the left. Had some cognitive issues, so really bad short-term memory, pretty slow processing speed, things like that initially. Thankfully, after about 17 days in Riverside Community Hospital and then 7 weeks at an inpatient acute rehab facility, I was able to go home from the rehab center, luckily walking fairly independently with a cane, even though I had showed up with the left leg and arm paralysis.
When she arrived to the emergency room, the stroke team successfully performed a procedure called thrombectomy, which involved a catheter traveling through the blood vessels into the brain, which physically pulls out the clot. Thrombectomy was a major success with the best possible outcome. Due to the large area of stroke and the amount of swelling associated with strokes like these, Dr. Sahasrabudhe was consulted.
I first got involved in Amanda's care after she came in and after the thrombectomy was performed. She was in the ICU still in critical but stable condition, and my involvement was for the expected brain swelling that happens after a stroke. When you have a stroke that's sufficiently large, what we're concerned about is significant swelling of that area of the stroke that can now cause so much pressure on the rest of the brain that you can get what we call secondary injury and can sometimes even be life-threatening. So I had a pretty lengthy discussion with her family and with her regarding our options, and what we decided to do was, in order to get ahead of the swelling, do something called a decompressive craniectomy, where quite literally I remove half of the skull on the side of the stroke in order to allow that brain to swell in the safest way possible, to swell outward rather than swelling inward and causing more damage. Thankfully, the surgery went very well. She got through the swelling period. Eventually that swelling resolved, and we were able to bring her back to surgery several months later and put her own bone back in.
So obviously super special to come back to be able to come see a lot of the staff who worked with me at the time. That's not something I expected to happen 5 years ago when I was first kind of thrown into all of this seemingly out of nowhere. And being able to kind of see the surgeon who did my skull surgeries, for example, who I haven't seen in 5 years and who hadn't seen me since I had no hair, for example. I'm sure it was a very big change and a cool transition to see from 2020 to now in 2025. And I was able to say, thanks to the surgery you did, I was able to become an aunt to a niece who's 13 months old. I was able to walk in my brother's wedding as a bridesmaid and do a bunch of different things, like go to a friend's wedding and so forth.
We don't see patients come back, often to share their stories. So this is the reason we do what we do and treat patients like this.
It was amazing seeing her today. I typically don't get the opportunity to see my patients 5 years out, even 6 months out, and to have someone come back in, to walk back into the hospital and be able to have a conversation with me. Needless to say, very fulfilling. It kind of validates what we do, but also inspiring to see that now she's taking this opportunity to give back to the community and try to help educate and help patients that are dealing with what she went through.
I would like to try to come back to spend time with the current stroke patients who are currently admitted at the hospital, so I can hopefully give them some hope for their recovery ahead.